Phillies will play the San Diego Padres.
It goes back to being the hot team and having to play all the way to the end. I think these two teams have played with an edge. The Phillies, you and I, we never jumped off that ship all year long. There are two pitchers right now, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, have been great. The bullpen has resurrected itself. These are two dangerous teams, the two best teams right now in the National League. Phillies, Padres, to see who goes to the World Series.
How symbolic was it to see Juan Soto at a pressure moment get the big knock? Obviously, Cronenworth gave him the lead. And then Josh Hader strikes out the side, and he didn't just strike out the side. He struck out Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, and Freddie Freeman. He punched out Freddie Freeman in 3 pitches.
That's like Pedro Martinez in the All-Star game, right? I mean, when he got...
Right now, he's throwing right now like he was in April, the first 5 or 6 weeks, when we thought, hey, not only NL Cy Young, this guy might be in for the MVP because his numbers were that good. Right now, when you think of where he was 3 weeks ago, basically lost. They were trying to find innings in the 7th and the 8th that were non-leverage to get him back going. He's back.
You can make the argument, the Braves, I'm going all the way back to spring training. You would have talked about the Braves, the Mets, and probably that would have been the road's got to go through those guys. But L.A. was always the one everybody would say, the road to win, you have to go through L.A. You're going to have to beat the Dodgers, period. No matter, even though the Braves had won the World Series, it was you got to beat the Dodgers. And in the American League, it was you got to go through Houston. Well, that's why you're seeing the celebration in San Diego. They know now that there is a clear road to a championship. They've knocked off Big Brother. They've gone through the team that everybody said you got to beat. And this has proven that they're a pretty good club.
They were the little brother. We're not just making it up. They lost 14 out of 19 games.
And years.
To the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Years of being impressed.
As good as the Dodgers pitching. I think not having Walker Buehler in that starting rotation was a big miss for the Dodgers. And listen, they had a miraculous year. They had, I think, over the 162-game grind, they wear you down. But this Padres team right now, they're a multifaceted, talented team. Their bullpen is electric right now. Suarez might be the most dominant out-getter in the postseason right now.
So good.
Hader is throwing the ball lights out. Their starting pitching is good. Musgrove is great. Darvish is throwing the ball well. They're loaded.
You said Musgrove. Tom Verducci on the field caught up with the man that started this pivotal Game 4, Joe Musgrove of the St. Padres. Led by Darvish, Blake Snell, Joe Musgrove, Clevenger, Manaea, all acquired by A.J. Preller. Remember, this was a rotation that was exciting because of the homegrown talent they were building around.
Right.
Paddock, Dinelson Lamet, Mackenzie Gore, Weathers, the lefty. They bailed on all the young pitching. They went all in for guys with pedigree. They traded the farm to do it. This is a reflection of a different path. We're used to this one-size-fits-all approach of assembling a baseball roster. This is a guy that decided, we're all in. Let the chips fall where they are in the farm system. We might not be ranked by Jonathan Mayo and the rest of MLB pipeline as a top 10 farm system, but we're going to try to win the World Series, and that's what you're seeing with this team.
Well, and what he did, too, he put his neck out on the line because they moved a lot of their franchise minor league players that so many teams covet, right? In a day and age where it seems like so many teams and front offices, they're afraid to make that move. They're afraid to move that prospect because in 2, 4, 5 years, that's going to come back and bite you. You look what the Padres did. They set the world on fire in the winter meetings a couple of years ago. They haven't stopped, and congrats to A.J. Preller. He put his neck on the line, and he was rewarded for it. But there's still a lot of work yet to be done.
Well, and I continue to go back. You got to have an owner that says, okay, I'm in. I'm listening to your plan. Because when they went and got Manny Machado, it changed the franchise. And when you talk about a franchise player, we're seeing it in Philly with Bryce Harper. Yeah. That franchise player has to be all in on the franchise. I'm here. We're going to build the culture. This is the guy that's going to lead us. And you have to have the right guy. You pick the wrong player, you're in trouble. This is Manny Machado's team. This is his organization that they've built around him with his ideas, his feelings, his character, everything is poured into this. Turn to Philadelphia. Same thing, Bryce Harper. I mean, you watch Bryce when he did the contract. I'm living here. I don't want a trade clause. I'm staying here. I'm raising my kids here. This is going to be my team. It's where I'm at. And you can see right now, Robbie Thompson's not getting that contract without a conversation with Bryce Harper, I don't think. That's kind of where it's at. A.J. Preller sits down with Manny Machado and has conversations. When you're that franchise player, we don't see it in our sport very often. Because it's kind of like players over there, I'm management. Now you're seeing this a lot more in baseball, where you have the investment of a $300 million player. He better be involved in some of the conversations you have.
Winter meetings, Las Vegas. They were both free agents, Machado and Harper. And by signing both players, the Padres all in with Machado,
Yep.
Phillies all in with Bryce Harper, they changed the course of the future of their franchises.
Both of them.
And as it stands right now, there are so many people that are critical of these big contracts and these long-term deals. AAV's astronomical. Money well spent. It's money well spent on both guys. They post up every day. Bryce Harper smashed his thumb with a pitch on the inside part of the plate. Look, he should be done for the year. And he came back. He can't throw because he's got a bad elbow.
Yeah.
And he's playing every day.
And, Greg, I'll take it a step further for you. They were the same draft class. Machado and Harper at the top of the board, right? And we always talk about Trout and Harper. It should be Machado and Harper that we should be comparing the two.
That's a great point.
Because they're out of the same draft class. They've got about the same money, and now they're going to go head-to-head in a postseason game. Mm-hmm. That's going to determine who goes to a World Series. That's pretty cool stuff.
Machado was third. Harper was first. You know who's second?
Tyon.
And he's pitching right now for the New York Yankees.
Yes.
And he's still alive. Who knows? Again, it is amazing what we're seeing. Manny Machado, his team. If I would have told you before the season started that Fernando Tatis Jr. was going to get injured falling off a motorcycle bike and then all of a sudden was going to have a PED suspension, wouldn't play a single game. But, oh, by the way, the Padres are 4 wins away from going to the World Series.
Crazy.
You wouldn't believe it, right?
No.
I might have.
Really?
Yeah, I might have.
Wow. I wouldn't have.
I've said this for the last year. Manny Machado has been and is the best baseball player on that team. He's been banged up, had that ankle injury. He posts up every single day.
He does.
He's the best baseball player on that team.
Okay. Well, Jake Cronenworth is pretty good, too. Oh, what a big hit he had tonight.
And he hit one into
World Series.
Well, you look at the format of the new postseason, right? Clearly, the teams that had layoffs, it looks like they might have struggled. But you got to look at the overall picture. Seattle getting in, Philly getting in, San Diego making their run. We're talking about franchises that haven't been in the postseason for at least 10 years. In Seattle, it's 21 years.
Right.
You know, so it is really refreshing to see new faces come in and be able to battle and play.
The last time the Padres were in the LCS, Juan Soto wasn't even alive. He wasn't born yet. It's been a while.
Wow. I mean, think about it. In 98, Dan, you were still playing in 98,
I was still
weren't you?
playing in 98.
How about that?
As for the Los Angeles Dodgers, how disappointing is this?
It's very disappointing. I mean, Dave Roberts went on record before the season started that, hey, we were going to win the World Series. This was going to be the year. They had the pitching, they had the bullpen, they had everything. They were going to be the best team in the National League, and they were. But they ran into a buzzsaw known as the Padres right now. This Padres team right now, I don't think, you know what I think? After this series with the Mets, I think we all wanted to just say how disappointing it was, the Mets. You know, they had a great year, 101 wins. But why don't we? I don't think we gave the Padres enough credit for beating Scherzer, beating Bassett in Citi Field, hostile environment. They took it to the Mets.
You're right. We were talking bad Mets instead of good Padres.
Bingo.
I blame one of our producers for that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Bad TV.
I mean, you think about it. The Dodgers, 111 wins. The Mets, 101. They're out.
Braves, 101, gone.
Gone. There's a different season when you get to the postseason, and you got to play a little bit different, too. I want to take you to the Dodgers 7th and the Padres 7th, because